Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Connor, and today I'm going to show you guys how I was able to get a credit score above 700 at the age of 18. All right, let's get right into it. All right, guys, so for those of you guys who aren't sure, like, what's the difference between someone who has a 650 credit score, which is considered fair, and someone who has a 700 to 750 credit score? Okay, well, there are actually more benefits than you probably know. And one of those is lower interest rates on the loans that you're going to take out. So some of you guys might have a 600 to 650 credit score. You guys might be saying to yourselves, like, I'm still able to take out loans. I had no problem taking a loan out for my car, maybe my house. But your interest rates are most likely significantly higher than someone like me who has a 700 to 750 credit score. And that is something that should really matter to you, considering that most of these loans you're going to be paying off over years and years and years. So that initial point that you take out that loan determines your interest rate for the period of the loan. Okay? The second reason why you should consider getting a higher credit score or making the effort to is more loan options. So if you're buying a house and you want to take out a bigger loan, chances are there's going to be a big difference between the size of the loan you can take out with the 650 credit score and the size of the loan you can take out with a 725 credit score. Okay? And next, credit cards. So you see all these credit card gurus out here with 50 credit cards, and people might be thinking like, damn, that guy's struggling. He has so many credit cards. He must have such a weak line of credit on each, so he has to take out some money. That's usually not the case. Usually someone has a card that they go to for dining, a card that they go to for gas, and I've known people that have like 20, 30 credit cards, and their credit score is literally 100 points more than mine. Okay, so you shouldn't judge someone's credit off of how many credit cards they have, because usually they have specific uses for each and every credit card that they have, and also insurance discounts. Okay, so your car insurance, you're not paying it off in full for the first year. Like, there's an option, usually you can pay it off in full for the whole year, or you can pay it monthly. Well, people tend to, even, okay, let's say two different drivers who have the same record, maybe they've had one accident or 0 accidents, but they're pretty safe drivers. Okay, someone who has the higher credit score is usually going to get, like, I'd say like $25 less on their insurance, just because of their credit score, and just because they know this monthly payment is going to be nothing to them. We don't have to worry about it taking longer than it should. We're going to get the money. Usually it's like on the first or whatever day it is for your credit, for your insurance. But yeah, usually you are able to save money on your insurance for multiple different things, not just car insurance, maybe your house insurance, or maybe whatever it might be. But usually you're going to end up paying less with a higher credit score. And also housing options. And this is not just houses. But I've known people who are literally going into an apartment and they had someone else who wanted that apartment, and they are offering to pay the same price for it. But just because that other person, just because my buddy had a higher credit score, they chose him rather than the other person. And I believe the other person was willing to pay like $50 more a month or something like that. But just because of the higher credit score, they said, hey, that's going to be less that we have to worry about, and this is someone that we can count on more than the other person with the credit score 75 points lower. And also, when you're getting an apartment or you're renting out a place, or maybe you're renting like a car or something, most of you guys have to take out, most of you guys have to give a security deposit. And that might be the case with a credit card as well. But someone with a higher credit score, usually around 700, 750, those start going away. You're not gonna have to put money down for a credit card. You're not gonna have to put money down for a car. You're not gonna have to put money down when you're renting an apartment. Usually they trust you more, and you are not required to put a security deposit down when you have that credit score that makes you trustable and that makes you someone that they can count on for their payments every single month. Okay, so now that we've gone through the benefits, let me tell you guys exactly how I got my credit score up so fast. So it wasn't like right when I turned 18, I got my first credit card. Actually, it was about 3 months that went by before I got my first credit card. My first card was actually the Apple card, which is not a hard card to get. It might sound fancy. It might sound like, oh, you're getting 2% back with Apple Pay. That card must be hard to get, but obviously it's not, or else I wouldn't have been able to get it as my first card. But with that said, one of the biggest mistakes that I made towards the beginning of using credit cards is I applied for a few. I got my Apple card, my limit wasn't high, And so I said, hey, let me get a few credit cards. And I was not tracking my credit score at the time as much as I am now, but I inquired for about 6 different credit cards, and those 6 credit cards dropped my credit score by about 30 to 40 points. And I didn't even realize that until I downloaded Credit Karma. And then I realized, like, holy cow, my credit is tanking, even though I'm paying it off every single month. But they're considered hard inquiries. They really hurt your credit score, especially if you go through a bunch. And people will always try to have you do hard inquiries without you even realizing. Like, I realized with PayPal, they have this new credit thing where you don't have to pay off your balance for a while, or like a month or two. And it said, do you want to apply for this? And it never told me that it was a hard inquiry. It never even told me that it was going to check my my identity and everything like that, which is usually what reports to the people that create your FICO scores. But my credit score dropped by like 7 points because of that, and I didn't even realize that it was considered a hard inquiry. So make sure you watch out for those, and make sure you're only applying for credit cards or taking hard inquiries when you actually really have to, or when you're getting your first card. And when I went to the bank, I was going to get the Wells Fargo Cashwise card. And what they said was, you're not going to get accepted. And I was like, what? My credit score is almost 700. Why? And they said, because your credit history with your most recent card that you had is not long enough. And so I was thinking to myself, as I was applying for those cards, like, hey, my credit score is not bad. I should definitely be able to get these cards. But what I didn't realize is you want to have a history with each card. And what he recommended to me was to have each card for 9 months to a year before I apply for the next card. So that is something that you should really consider, and that is something that I would not have realized if I did not go down to Wells Fargo and ask about the other credit card that I was thinking about getting. But for those of you guys who are wondering, how long did it take to get the 700 credit score? If you're 18 and you already have that credit score, like, how quick does it take? Well, doing some research, when I was looking around, like, what can I tell people the average length is, it said about 6 months. So for someone who's spending an average amount each month and who's putting a decent amount on their credit cards, you can expect, as long as you're paying in full and keeping your balance low, to have a credit score of about 700 after about 6 months, as long as your credit score is not horrible right now. And by horrible, I mean it can't be below like 600. I'd say 625 and you're safe. But below 600, you cannot count on having a 700 credit score within 6 months. I'd say that would take closer to a year, maybe a little bit longer. But another thing that I did to raise my credit score was, at the beginning, I was like, hey, my credit usage really needs to be down. I was putting almost everything on my debit card. But when I started putting almost everything on my credit card, it really, really, really raised my score, especially when I had a low limit, because then it showed that I was able to spend money, and that I was spending money every single month, and that I was also able to pay it off. Okay, so for those of you guys who are going with your girlfriends to get an ice cream, and you're deciding, hey, am I gonna put this $10-15 on my debit card or my credit card? I just put everything on my credit card. I usually use like 50 to 75% of the line of credit that I have, and I just paid off right on the first day. And speaking of the first day, another mistake that I made when I was building my credit was I was paying it off like the day that I would spend it. So let's say that you're with your girlfriend, you bought the ice cream with your credit card, and then you're considering, should I just pay it off right now or should I not? What I was doing was literally right after I spent it, I would pay it off. I would collect that 2% cash back. I would think that it was reported to my FICO score provider, and I would just pay it off right then and there. But what I didn't realize was they weren't really seeing the balance of my credit card. It didn't really look like I was spending anything at all, because then when I was getting my credit reports, it was saying zero balance every single time, and so it did not look like I was spending any money to them. So what I would do is I would put everything on it, and I would set up automatic payments. So most credit card providers, they have an app or something that you can use to turn on automatic payments. And what that does is, at the end of your statement, which is, let's say that you spent the money on the 5th of January, February 5th, the statement opens, and then March 5th is when it's due. So right when it closes, it's gonna automatically pay it off for you from your bank. And that's always something you want to do. I usually do it manually, but I have that on just in case I miss something. And that will really keep you from having your credit score drop, because if you have a high balance on your credit card and you end up not paying it off, let's say that it's a couple $1,000s, you can do the research right now. Your credit score could literally tank by close to 100 points just from that 1 month where you were late on your payment. And so that is really significant. It is so easy to drop your credit score. I could drop my credit score to like 550 in a day if I wanted to, with all these inquiries and not paying off my credit card, but it is so hard to build it up. So what I would suggest that all you guys do is not inquire about a bunch of credit cards. Try to keep the same credit card for about 9 to 12 months. Spend money on it. When you're deciding credit or debit, I almost always go with credit, and do not pay it off until the first of the statement. So the first day of the statement, you can, anytime within those 30 days, it's not going to make a difference. And then also turn on automatic payments just in case. And doing these 4 things and just being careful with your spending and making sure you don't miss anything, making sure you're not making these inquiries, like I just said, you can expect your credit score to go from, let's say, 600 to 650 range to 700, 725 range within about 6 months, as long as you're actually spending money and you are paying it off all the time. Like I keep saying this over and over because I really want it to stick with you, but that is the most important part. There's not this trick that you can do where you like call your credit card and say, hey, can you spend this money and then take it off, or like just taking out a random loan and paying the interest on it. Like there's no point, there's no secret, there's nothing like that. I'm just being real with you guys. Spend money on it, pay it every single month, and turn on automatic payments, and do not inquire about a bunch of stuff, and you guys will be good to go, and you guys will be surprised how fast your credit score goes up. And if you guys are looking to make sure that this works, it does work, because obviously I was able to do this, and I'm not someone who I didn't take out a loan for my car. I paid it off in cash. But I'm not someone who took out a loan, and that will actually raise your credit score, and also leasing a car will raise your credit score. But I also do not have a house, and a lot of the people watching this video might have one or the other. You guys might have a loan taken out, you guys might have a house or something like that. But if I can do it with neither a house loan or a car loan, you guys can do it yourselves without either, and just do the same thing that I did, and you guys will be good to go, and you guys will be hopefully surprised by how quickly your credit score raises. And so that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully it helped you guys out. If it did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.